Serve your time, karibu my people. Happy to be back. I hope all are doing well in the wilderness. Yeah, I'm just here a bit being bitten by these nice mosquitoes. I guess I'll try to make this video a bit short and real quick because I don't want to be bitten. So yeah, now something hit me as I was hitting the road, catching up with nature, trying to get that a bit of fat out of the system. And as I was doing this, something just kept coming to my mind. This thing, knowledge is power. And I'm like, okay, what exactly is this? I hope you bear with me. I'm a bit sweaty and a bit tired and all that, but yeah, we'll do what we can. I'll try and keep it short. So, knowledge is power. What's the difference? What exactly is it? I hear this thing, you hear this thing every day. People keep saying the same thing. But have you ever really thought about it? I think since I think a couple of hours ago, or maybe it's something. I think something triggered my mind yesterday. But today, as I was trying to catch up with nature, it's just it came back to play. Now I asked myself, okay, exactly, what is knowledge? What is power? What does it mean, really, in the practical sense, at least how I see it? Welcome to Serve Your Time. It's your boy Richard here. If you're new to the channel, please like, sub, share, comment. It means the world to me and to the rest of the team that keep doing everything they do to make sure that we have the right content. We have we put out there the good message, and we push and find time. Sometimes it's so hard actually to find time. It's been quite a busy month. I would imagine the last couple of weeks, crazy, but it is what it is. Passion is everything. Serve Your Time is one of those for me. It's the ultimate. So again, if you're new, the channel is all about sharing experiences, how we view things and how those relate to life. Particularly, it all began with me, sharing experiences or sometimes random ideas or random thoughts that come to me, and trying to figure out how those relate to life, in throwing them back at you, see whether you can relate, and if you relate, share. Maybe someone out there could find a message inspiring, and they would use a bit of knowledge. So I'm in my best place in terms of nature. Fortunately, there's a bit of our friends here, some ants. You may not see them, but I'm sure if you sit down there, you would imagine that there would be definitely a lot of life happening, but you may not necessarily see at the onset. But anyway, so when I thought about what is knowledge and what is power, of course, sometimes I just like to share raw data, especially when it comes to this particular kind of series. And remember that for this particular kind of message, this is what kicked off actually everything. But then along the way, I found myself, thinking, okay, why not have other people who have a lot to share, also share their experiences? So as a result, this series became what came to be known as somersaulting through life. Hopefully that you will land on your feet. If you don't, who knows, you will fall and you wake up and you keep going. So it's all about life and experiences as we keep somersaulting and moving forward, growing and learning and unlearning. So knowledge for me, the obvious thing, of course, just like maybe any one of you would imagine, is there's knowledge, there's power. I know A, so I have capacity with A because of B being power. Isn't that like really the obvious thing? But then again, when I thought about doing this, I'm like, okay, could there be such a thing as excessive knowledge? Could there be such a thing as excessive power? What happens if you're over knowledgeable and over powerful? Is actually the knowledge, is it just like knowledge within you? Is it a singular kind of experience, or does it apply to people and situations around you? And if that is the case, does that mean that knowledge has to be, is it like a thing, or an aspect you have that you cannot think or relate with or imagine exclusively in a persona, like lawyers like to call it, or is it in realm, like again lawyers like to call it persona, meaning that it's individualized. In realm, it's the entire worldwide. And then if that is the case, are there different types of knowledge? Are there different types of power? And then as I kept on thinking and thinking, like, okay, this is interesting. And so for me, I think my very basic thought process came down to the whole point of I think if knowledge can be, of course, knowledge will be different in different aspects, and that power would apply to that knowledge in a different context, right? So let's say for people who are in school, being knowledgeable on a subject gives you the power, to pass the exams, or at least apply the skills. If you're in business, for instance, and really my favorite topic, then that would give you the knowledge of either how to, like right now, with some of our, we were trying to figure out something, what we call distribution metrics, with our, tech startup. And then, so that thing made me think, okay, so if I exclusively and I get to know a lot, become so knowledgeable about distribution metrics for purposes of market entry, then that would give me power to apply that knowledge to either get successful or at least break through the market, then run the business successfully, and then maybe at the end of the day get profitable, or at least be able to keep it as a going concern, right? But then on another angle, then you say, okay, so there's a fine line, especially in business, at least from where I stand, my personal experience. Maybe who would definitely cross the road without thinking so much about the repercussions of his actions, right? But at the end of the day, regardless, there's a high chance that someone out there will see that baby and rush to stop them. That baby has no knowledge of, the dangers that would come with crossing the road, right? But the same baby would be could easily be exposed. A running car or some idiot, just recklessly driving could just hit them, right? But the chances that that baby will cross the road successfully are almost guaranteed. The other thing would be that they don't know what's across the road. But again, chances that they will actually, because it could be, I think as an example, it could be a deep end, it could be an ocean, it could be, a valley, it could be maybe there's a, there's a steep, and maybe it's a rock, the road is on a rock, and then there's a steep and it's gonna fall and crash. But the baby doesn't think so much about it. And equal to that, when you think about entrepreneurship, for instance, you find ourselves, sometimes you overthink. You overthink of a strategy, you overthink of implementation, you overthink of the distribution metrics, you overthink of your resource, your people resource. Then you drag in decision making, and then you find yourself being caught up with the iron of time. Then maybe before you know it, perhaps you had a fast mover advantage, someone else has done it, or if you're in the tech space, for instance, technology changes every other minute. Something else has come up. There's a new technology that has actually changed the course of your business, right? It can never be the same. So when that happens, so you find that now you being knowledgeable can also sometimes be dangerous, right? you could be overly knowledgeable on a subject. In other words, that power becomes your enemy, right? So you have the knowledge, you have the power to apply the knowledge, but you're too knowledgeable. As a result, you've lost time, or you've spent so much time in knowledge collection, and it's no longer relevant. It doesn't help. I remember actually, I think I saw a quote many years ago or sometime back. There's this American, I think he owns the Mavericks. What's his name? Mark Cuban, yes, this billionaire guy. I think he was at some point, he's the kind of guy who saw most of these things early stage, but was, for instance, he saw crypto, he saw internet, and especially I think he was talking about the internet in its early days. Same way we now have AI. So I think what he did, he just went and learned the basics. Not necessarily wanted to become a dev or a coder to be the best coder you can find, or build crazy apps or things like that. No. But he said, you must always learn enough to be dangerous. Meaning that you may not know everything, but what is the fine line between the much you know and how far that can take you, right? So I think that also plugs into that. I found that that quote of his very inspirational, and in the sense that also it plugs into failing fast in business, right? Failing fast doesn't mean that you just aim to fail very quickly, but it basically means that you do get everything that you have to know to be able to succeed. Sorry, these things are killing me, so I just have to keep moving around. Know enough to be dangerous, in the sense that you don't have to wait for a whole decade or a whole year to make a decision, right? Especially like really in business, and this could also apply in life as it is. But because of the iron of time, things move very fast, things change very fast. Know enough to put you in that room. Was him, what he did, he learned what exactly the internet is, how at least to utilize the internet. And I think he also learned, he made himself, because it was also the writing code had really now, the opportunities were in who can utilize the internet to max out the internet. So he realized there's an opportunity in learning code, or at least knowing how it works, right? And be able now, as an executive, as a CEO, as a founder, be able to recruit the right team from an informed point of view. So I think that, for me, makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I just check his battery. Hope it doesn't die. Made a lot of sense, and it also means that at some point you have to be careful when it comes down to knowledge is power. I think you have to balance how much knowledge how do you know the much you need? Do you need to know everything about anything, or about a subject, or about a business? Or do you need enough? What is enough, right? And that enough knowledge in itself would equate to what is enough power. Because I think that in itself would mean that if you have enough knowledge balanced with enough power, you will be able to achieve whatever it is that you're aiming to do in business or in life, without necessarily losing time in being over knowledgeable, that you don't need the knowledge, you don't need to apply at the subject. Of course, there's no bad knowledge, but if you have goals to achieve, so you need to be able to I think, be careful and balance. Because if you have too much knowledge, you have too much power, but then you're going to apply that too much power to an issue or to a business that has been way overtaken by events. Technology has changed so much. So yes, yeah, you have a lot of knowledge about how CDs operate, but they're no longer relevant. For instance, right? You have so much knowledge on how how cameras operate, but a Kodak mindset. Yes, great, but I mean, things are changing very fast. You could use any other many examples, or you have so much knowledge about how to write code, which kind of, which code do you, which language to apply in writing code. Great, right? But how relevant is it now that you would know so much about coding, or how to code? You're the best developer, for instance, but you don't know how to utilize, for example, AI, right? But you still stuck into knowing so much about how to be the best dev, how to write code, maybe in JavaScript or whatever. That knowledge is actually that knowledge and that power becomes dangerous. It becomes your enemy of progress, because then you have learned so much. Fantastic, but what's the relevance of that knowledge? So that power, how is it helpful? It's not going to take you anywhere. In any event, it's actually going to end up being counterproductive. So, and we can so many examples, good people. You can just think about it. But the question is, even for me, as like I said, these things, I really freestyle. I'm just like, as I talk, I'm like, this is interesting. So, what is it? What does it mean to be knowledgeable enough to be dangerous? How do you define that, right? How do you recognize and understand the right power for the right knowledge, right? How do you, because in a way, in one way or the other, knowledge determines the power in this context, right? But if you over knowledgeable, you're going to be overly powerful, and applying the wrong power because of that knowledge to the wrong issue, to the wrong subject, to the wrong business, to the wrong timing, right? Now, is there a measure for what is sufficient? I don't know. Is there a way to determine how to balance enough knowledge? I don't know. But I think in the absence of a tool, maybe there is, maybe there is not. Maybe someone comment if you know of any technology or software that would give that. But I think in the absence of such a tool or such a technology, I think it goes down to understanding. Maybe you can give. That's why I think things like KPIs, key performance indicators, apply, or any TOT. Is it turnaround time? So perhaps maybe if you, one of the best ways is to time, to allocate time to solving a problem, for instance, right? And then be willing either to adjust your knowledge if it is not working, or if it's working, to apply and keep learning. Because I think if whatever you're doing is working, then there's no need to stop your knowledge loop. Then by all means, spend a century, spend 10 years, keep going if it's working and it's applying time. So I think one of the quickest ways I can think of is perhaps have time bound kind of mindset on how much knowledge you need, because you can easily, it's very easy, unless you're a scholar, but it can be very possible and very tempting for you to find yourself in that knowledge searching loop. Then you end up, instead of applying a solution to a problem, you just